That's exactly what it is. Every day, focusing on thoughts that can change your life. So today I asked the question, does a spiritually realized individual complain? Is there any good in complaining? And I come to understand from my own experience. Now, I'm not telling you what's true. I don't know what truth is. I don't think any of us know what truth is. We do know what perceptions are. And everything that we talk about is a perception that's filmed through the filters of our life experience. And so when I look at a spiritually realized individual, I don't see them as complaining. I see that individual as someone who knows what they're for. And when you know what you're for, then you focus on taking directions or steps in the direction of what you're for. I believe that that's the most proactive thing that we can do as individuals. You see, complaining is saying to the universe that things are not working out. And when you keep complaining, you create a mental atmosphere around you that attracts more of what you're complaining about. Not only do you attract more of what you're complaining about, but it's really the ego saying, I'm better than this, so I'm going to complain. And we come to realize that a spiritually realized individual is someone who knows how to keep the ego in check. It's not that the ego is bad. The ego is there to protect us. But what's happening today is that our ego is running rampant and we want to be right about everything. Here's what I understand. There are two sides to every situation. There's no question. There's always more than one side. There's the yin and the yang of every situation. If you see darkness in a situation, there will be light. If you see light in a situation, there will be dark. Why? Because everything is in balance. It's how the universe works. And we try to deny that. We deny that truth. I believe that balance is truth. Why do I believe that balance is truth? Because without balance, the world would destroy itself. It could not exist. So knowing that there's balance in the universe, that causes me to say, okay, a spiritually realized individual, a spiritually aware individual is one who can see the balance. And when you can see the balance and you realize that your thoughts have the power to create, your thoughts with your actions, your feelings, all directed toward a specific result, held persistently and consistently, either consciously or unconsciously, create your life experience. It doesn't create anyone else's life experience. You get that? We've got to stop being so egotistical, thinking that we can create other people's life experiences. We can't. We have zero power over that. Here's what we can control: our own response, and better our response than our reaction. Because our reaction is off the cuff, knee-jerk, emotional, ego-driven type thing. A response is something that we do to a situation that's based on understanding who we are, what's really important to us, and acting from that perspective. So I believe that complaining is probably one of the biggest tools that the ego uses to feed itself, and it keeps you locked in the situation as opposed to being able to move beyond the situation. I don't know. And is it possible to get over complaining? I've been working on this for years. I teach this. And I still find there are times when my subconscious mind, my ego-driven mind, complains. I was teaching a class on this last night, and someone pointed out, Lee, you just did a complaint in a very sneaky way. And I said, that's my ego. My ego is very sneaky. It likes to complain. Why does the ego like to complain? Because it wants to be right. The ego is all about being right. So here's the other thing that the ego likes to do. It likes to defend itself. And when you defend yourself, what are you doing then? You're not leaving room open for a new possibility. Let me ask this question then. Why do you feel the need to defend yourself? And I think there's a difference between defending ourselves and explaining ourselves. Can you feel the difference in those two energies? If you have to defend yourself, you feel a need to constantly defend yourself, you're always on guard. You're always in stress. You always don't believe you're enough because you've got to defend. As opposed to when you explain yourself, you're not trying to justify anything. You're not trying to prove anything to anyone. You're not putting anyone above you. So you really don't give a hoot. You really don't give a hoot if they get it or not. That's explaining yourself. And I think that's a much more powerful tool to live our lives by than being on the defense all the time. I think the key thing that I want to say here today is that know what you're for, not what you're against. Know what you're for and take actions in the direction of what you're for. Whatever it is, now you've got a life that's expanding, that's growing, that's going to be exciting. Because if you're focusing on what's juicing you, what's coming out from your heart center, there's nothing better. You're going to be in the moment. You're going to be living your life to the fullest. And when you're living your life to the fullest, you're not wasting time. And time is the most valuable thing that we have. So with that in mind, ask the question today. Does a spiritually realized individual complain? And if you don't want to be a spiritually realized individual and you want to stay complaining, hey, go ahead. I want you to know I don't care. And you may say, why don't you care, Lee? Because I have no control over what you feel. I only have control over what I feel. I present to you thoughts every morning that can possibly change your life. I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm trying to get you to think for yourself. And when I do this for you, I'm actually doing it for me. I'm getting myself to think for myself. So with that in mind, I say to you, go create your great day. Complain if you want to. I'd highly advise that you start looking at that and start focusing on what you want and what you're for in life. Until tomorrow, have yourself a great